North Korea suddenly cracked open its doors to Western visitors for exactly 96 hours. Only 13 people from 9 different countries were allowed inside, and what they discovered during those 4 days has sparked a global conversation about the world's most secretive nation. Then, just as suddenly as it began, North Korea slammed the door shut again with no explanation. The brief experiment left more questions than answers about what the regime was actually testing during those critical 4 days. The 96-hour window that changed everything. The details of what actually happened during those 4 days reveal why North Korean authorities reacted so drastically. This wasn't just any ordinary tourism announcement. North Korea had maintained absolute isolation from Western visitors since January 21, 2020. When they became the first country on Earth to completely seal their borders at the pandemic's onset. For over 5 years, not a single Western tourist had set foot inside the Hermit Kingdom. The regime had turned their already extreme isolationism into something unprecedented in modern history. Then suddenly, without warning or explanation, North Korean authorities contacted a single Chinese tour operator on February 15, 2025. The message was simple but shocking. They would accept exactly 13 Western tourists for a 4-day visit to Rasson City starting February 20th. The group had to be assembled within 5 days, cross overland from China, and agree to restrictions that made previous North Korean tours look relaxed. The selected 13 came from 9 different countries, 1 each from the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Germany, Austria, France, Italy, and Greece. Notably absent were Americans, who faced an outright ban that North Korean officials refused to explain. The tourists surrendered passports, underwent checks, and provided devices for inspection, illustrating the regime's reliance on old-school controls and their agreement to strict local rules. Rasson City itself represented a calculated choice by North Korean authorities. Located in the country's far northeast corner, it sits at the exact tripoint where North Korea meets Russia and China. The city operates as a special economic zone, designed specifically for foreign interaction, and therefore already equipped with the infrastructure needed to monitor and control outside visitors. More importantly, Rasson's isolation from the rest of North Korea meant tourists would see only what authorities wanted them to see. The visitors faced restrictions that went far beyond typical guided tours. They couldn't leave their designated hotel after sunset, required escorts for every movement outside their rooms, and had to submit all electronic devices for inspection twice daily. North Korean guides accompanied them to bathroom breaks, monitored their conversations with local staff, and confiscated any items they deemed inappropriate, including books, magazines, and certain clothing items. But something went wrong with North Korea's carefully planned experiment. On March 8th, just 16 days after the last tourist departed, Pyongyang issued a terse statement through their state news agency announcing the immediate suspension of all Western tourism indefinitely. No explanation accompanied the announcement. No timeline was provided for future reconsideration. The brief window that had taken 5 years to open slammed shut faster than anyone expected. What happened during those 96 hours that spooked North Korean authorities so badly? The answer lies in what the 13 visitors documented and shared with the world afterward. Every single tourist posted content about their experience across social media platforms. Their combined videos, photos, and written accounts have generated over 15 million views on YouTube alone, with millions more across Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. The content these tourists produced differed dramatically from previous North Korean travel documentation. Armed with 2025 smartphone technology, they captured details that previous visitors with older equipment had missed. Their videos showed infrastructure decay that North Korean authorities hadn't anticipated would be visible. They documented interactions with local residents that revealed more about daily life than the regime intended. Most concerning for Pyongyang, they recorded conversations that suggested North Koreans were far more aware of outside world events than the government wanted known. One British tourist video showing empty store shelves in what was supposed to be Rasson's most prosperous district gained 2.3 million views within the first week. An Australian visitor's documentation of crumbling apartment buildings visible from their hotel window accumulated 1.8 million views. A. German tourists' recording of local residents quietly asking about news from Europe reached 1.2 million viewers before North Korean authorities likely became aware of its existence. The regime's traditional methods for controlling information had assumed tourists would share their experiences through limited channels like personal blogs or small travel communities. Instead, social media algorithms pushed North Korean content to massive global audiences hungry for rare glimpses inside the Hermit Kingdom. Videos that might have reached hundreds of people 5 years ago were now reaching millions within days. North Korean officials had also underestimated how modern technology would enable real-time documentation. Previous tourists had to wait until after their visits to process and share content. The 2025 visitors were uploading videos, photos, and commentary while still inside North Korea, using cellular data that somehow remained accessible despite the country's internet restrictions. This real-time sharing meant North Korean authorities lost control of the narrative before they realized what was happening. The most revealing aspect of the tourist content wasn't what it showed about North Korea's physical infrastructure, but what it revealed about the regime's outdated understanding of information control in the digital age. Their guides repeatedly tried to restrict photography and recording using methods that had worked in 2019 but proved completely ineffective against 2025 technology and social media platforms. The economic implications of this failed experiment extend far beyond tourism revenue. North Korea had invested enormous resources preparing for the visit, including renovating facilities, training specialized guides, and coordinating security measures across multiple government agencies. The abrupt cancellation represented not just lost tourism income, but wasted preparation costs and damaged credibility with potential future visitors. More significantly, the experiment exposed fundamental contradictions in North Korea's current strategy. The regime desperately needs foreign currency from tourism, but their control mechanisms haven't evolved to handle modern information technology. They want the economic benefits of international engagement while maintaining absolute control over information flow, a combination that the February experiment proved impossible to achieve. The 13 tourists also documented something else that likely concerned North Korean authorities: evidence of the country's military preparations that weren't supposed to be visible to civilian visitors. Several videos inadvertently captured military vehicles, construction projects near the border, and infrastructure that suggested far more military activity in the region than North Korea wanted revealed